tall, so not the biggest barbarian, but I'm jacked.
To hair and braids. What if we put it in 2 braids and then we wrapped it around and then we gave on the flowers sticking together and then what if we did this? Oh, purple!
May I have another drink, please?
Yes, you may, Andy Koso.
Put your hands up, it's better!
No. Syria, Roman Constitution, Civic Girls. Yes, you. I'm gonna fight you.
He's sort of you guys know who I am, right?
Yeah. Goggles.
You're Dr. Mole.
Robot. Dr. Robot.
What do you do?
Take a moment to try to stop laughing.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing with the other one.
Why not? It worked again.
Hating on Batman.
And I don't hate Batman, for the record. I hate the fandom of Batman.
Oh, cool. Okay,
That's the
that's
issue.
way more people.
It is. It's a
Dang.
lot of, like, actual human beings.
Were you gonna?
You need to rub this crap off your neck and not smell like me, or I will fail. Just start rubbing his neck and just getting like.
I am fairly certain it doesn't matter what I smell like at this point.
To a feline, you have wolf's piss on you.
I'm just gonna point at my feline eyes.
I have some time.
You've just tuned in. We had the brilliant idea while we were fishing at the Dark Moon Festival.
Oh, jeez.
To do a dungeon with fishing poles equipped. Because why not? And so we drank all of the alcohol in our bags, and we equipped our fishing poles and our aquatic pets, and we went to do a dungeon.
I feel like I need to put it up. So this was the end of our epic tale. What holds for next week as the heroes set sail? We may find more family, we may find where things start. All we know is to follow our hearts. So our heroes set forth to pillage and to plunder in the magical continent of wonder. We have one more question. I hope to not blunder. The question for you, dear friends. Do you wonder? Thank you, guys. Indigo Connect.
Look,
I'm in hell. This is hell, and I'm in hell. Hello,
Take a little
everybody!
rest, okay?
A few months ago.
Welcome
And a
to
blonde wig. What's up?
Indigo
You do have ice on you now, don't you?
Chameleon.
Oh my God.
It's me, your good buddy Scribe. It's Tuesday night. It is time for a little wonder. Did you get the things? Oh wait, no, I didn't get things, but I will check it after announcements. We love you. Welcome everybody. Welcome. We've got a few announcements before we kick off tonight's game of Dungeons and Dragons. The first announcement is a scheduling announcement. I have thought long and hard about this, and the things have been accelerated after a well-placed Dispel Magic. Here is how things are going to roll. Please spread the word. I will spread the word on Discord as well. We have tonight. We have next Tuesday, and next Tuesday will be the season 1 finale of Wonder. It'll take us to almost a year of streaming this amazing adventure in Dungeons and Dragons, and I think it's time. So that being said, next week will be the season 1 finale. The week after, any of the cast that will like to join, I'm going to encourage all of them to be here. We will do a talk back. Any questions that they have about threads that didn't get tied up, NPCs, questions, alternative spots where things could have gone differently, any questions that you have as an audience, we'll also give you a sneak peek of season 2 as we do a bit of a post-credit scene to see where some characters ended up, and maybe some new faces joining the team. So, so stay tuned depending on who makes it through next week's episode. So that is the biggest scheduling announcement so far. that being said, please come and hang out with us on the Discord. You will be in the know for updated schedules and things of that sort. There's an inspiration channel. There's a fun play-by-post. There's all sorts of cool and interesting things that you can find on the Discord. There's also a merch store where you can buy cool stuff like the mug that Indigo Chameleon has in front of her. You can get cool stuff like this hat with the brand new Indigo Chameleon logo on it, with the D20 symbol and all about it. It's my new big thing, and I've already picked up a couple of new followers as I walked around. They're like, "That looks like a D20," and I'm like, "Funny you should say that." And then and it opens up the conversation. How much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice. Hi, I'm Billy. Let me tell you about my stream. So. Please help support the crew. There's also a digital store where you can buy merch to up your digital avatar. Today's item is a mushroom. That's all I'm going to say. It's a little on the expensive side of things in terms of bits, but you will find out what it does if a player were to purchase it.
Already before he even got home. How dare you?
Did you already buy it?
No, but I really, really thought about
Oh my god! So yes, that is up and available for purchase. You can also use that little free thing at the bottom. It's a little. You'll see a picture of karma at the very bottom of your screen. You can use that to earn stream points and affect the game, buying potions and +5s and magical items for the player of your choice. Hello, Grim. Love you, heart. Thank you for subscribing. You're the best. We love you. So I think that's it for announcements. It is Giving Tuesday. So one more final announcement. It is Giving Tuesday. We're not doing a fundraiser because Indigo Chameleon is gearing up for a charity stream. December 15th leading into December 16th, we're going to be doing a 25-hour stream, not 24 because we go the extra hour, to benefit Give Kids the World. We're going to be partnering up with some of our favorite Twitch streams around that are going to be pointing you in the right direction to give money to Give Kids the World. Give Kids the World Village is this non-profit Storybrooke resort that gives critically ill children a chance to have a vacation here in Florida where it's just very beautiful and very pretty, and so we're going to be doing a stream to benefit that. You will find streams going on here on this channel for 25 hours, stuff that we have never ever done on this channel before. I don't want to spoil anything yet. You will be announcing streams as they pop up, but yes, we encourage you all to come and hang out with us during that time, and if you have a little bit of money for Christmas stuff, or if you just want to share a little bit of that cheer during Christmas time, you can do that. So thank you all so much. What is this look of confusion on your face?
It's okay. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Okay.
Okay. We're
All
good.
right. Yeah. But that is it. Once upon a time in Wonderland, things were dire. So our group of adventurers set out to do some recon on the Red Keep. They had found many things. Their connections to the gods had been cut, including Cheshire, who in a heart-to-heart moment with wine in hand gave him the last of his grace and essence so that he could still be a cleric unto him. With these connections to the gods being cut and all of that happening, do we want to share with the class, or?
I'm sorry. A crap ton of content has suddenly been unlocked on DVD, and we'll have a discussion about it later.
Okay. With that being said,
Sorry, I got very confused for a few minutes. We're good.
okay. With that being said, the adventurers set out to make their way to the Red Keep and to discover what is going on. With some very clever ruses and being able to break into the Red Keep, the plans all came together, and the group was able to infiltrate the Red Keep. Upon entering the Red Keep, they were greeted to the image of the King of Wonderland laying in a bed close to death. There was some careful investigation and being able to look into different planes of existence, in which case they were able to see representations of all the gods gathered around in a small circle, including ties to the earth with Thoe's people, the Furbolgs, all gathered together in this small space stretching out into the ethereal plane. They saw representations of the Dormouse and Cheshire and all of the gods that have ever been represented, with the exception of one. One of the gods was not present. The ritual was not complete. And even though the ritual was not complete, Nyx took it upon himself to end this magic where it stood. When that happened, the crown that was atop the king's head, the magic was dispelled, and the magic, even though it was not completed, there was enough power in it to provide a facsimile of the spell that was prepared for Ascension. Ascension being the path that the queen wanted to take in order to become a living, breathing goddess of Wonderland. The portal opened. The crew, without a moment's hesitation, watched as the queen jumped through the portal, and they followed suit. We cut back to that scene, right before everyone jumps through the portal, and we see the image of everyone jumping through the portal, with Mandrake being the last one through the portal. Mandrake, you notice as you are about to jump through this portal that you were hoping to be the last one through to make sure that everyone got it through on the other side, until you catch a glimmer of movement off to your side as Grim stops himself in front of the portal, looks back into the room as the sound of guards start issuing down the hallway. With a look at you and a smile and the word pack on his lips, he tosses you towards the portal. When that happens, a portal opens up in the space behind where you are all being sort of forced through. There's a moment's hesitation as you all wake up in this space. It is a luscious green field. Next to you is not Grim. It is Day, who has been gone for quite a bit of time, working with Queen Mab on a mission of great importance, and to sort of help Day find herself amidst the chaos. We are happy to have her back, and Grim is nowhere near where you all are. He's not in the same space as everyone. There is no portal. Off in the distance, about 100 feet away, a small girl wearing a blue dress follows a white rabbit from a clearing not too far away off into the woods. Adventurers, what would you like to do?
Would we know who she is? Or I should say, would I know who she is? I mean, I've spent a lot of time in libraries, but...
Give me a history check.
We would have seen young Alice in the first episode as we were falling down the rabbit hole, because she went to a younger version of herself.
She did, so I would say a lot has happened since then.
Yeah.
If you want to make this history check at advantage, anybody who wants to try to recognize her, any of you are welcome to do this. You don't have to be
about where my drinking friend went.
Yeah, you look about the space, and he's just not there.
History.
There's no portal, there's no entrance into this space, which is a little concerning.
19.
15.
15.
24.
13.
Yeah. What? 13? Yeah. 15 and up, you immediately recognize who this figure is. If it's not her, it's a damn close approximation.
Cosplayer.
It's the best cosplayer you've ever seen.
We should follow.
Off we go.
Wait,
And I'm going to start running.
Where's Grim?
He's here behind.
Getting
Little liar. Ah.
You want to run that by me one more time?
So you all are standing there. Wine in hand goes, hey, where's Grim? Anybody stop?
I say he stayed behind, and then I take off after them.
Okay. Are we being stealthy about this? We're just running full tilt into this clearing where this small girl is following the rabbit. I'm not. You do you.
How far behind her are we? Like, how far away from her are we?
100 feet away.
No, I'm going to try to follow without being seen.
Okay. Stealth. Give me a stealth check as you just stay a little bit further back. You're trying to quiet your movements. What is everybody else doing? Wand in hand, are you following them? Are you examining the space?
Like I'd wait for a couple seconds, register what Mandrake said, and then just and start sneaking.
Yeah, tell you what. Since you're waiting in the space, and Day, where are you going in all of this? Are you following them or?
Honestly, the first thing she would do is be like, he said he was right behind me, and then she'd be like, and who are you?
Wine in hand, pleasure to meet you.
I see no wine in your hand.
Give me a second, sister.
Oh. Are you sharing? I take it as a no. Anyway, they're running. Shall we go now?
I'm sneaking.
Yeah.
Stealth.
7.
7.
Nat 20.
Nat. Hey, welcome to the party, buddy.
22.
22. 14. Live your truth.
I would start stealthy,
Okay.
but not successfully.
Okay.
A 9.
9.
Slightly more successful.
Grim asked if you used that +5 yet.
That's right. I totally.
Would you like to use
guys
that
are
now?
amazing. Yes, that's right. It's because I used Grimm's +5. I didn't use Icky's. Oh no, that's a +5. Never mind. That's right.
Yep,
7
just-
+5, 12. Yeah.
Okay.
Math is hard.
Oh, that was 9.
Nine.
Thank you, Grim. I would not have remembered that without you until I opened my pages, and I hadn't opened them yet.
I would keep my distance, but I'm not gonna.
He's not going stealthy. Yeah. That's fine. She doesn't seem to notice. She's a little preoccupied. There are more successes than failures here, with the exception of you are all moving at half movement. It does not take long. When you are stealthing, you move at half your movement speed. So it becomes somewhat problematic when everyone, even when trying to be stealthy, sort of waits, and when just like keeps walking into this small clearing. I think after a bit of time, the rabbit will go down this hole. It's like a hole in the tree, and the small girl will get close to the hole, and this is where we hit our first snack. For those of you that know the story of Alice in Wonderland, she chases the white rabbit. She falls down the rabbit hole, but she stops. Her hand upon the hole that's in this tree and turns around and makes eye contact with you. Enwin?
Hello there.
Hello.
You seem to be late.
Well, I'm not late. He seemed to be.
I suspect you're supposed to be there too.
Am I?
Why else are you here?
What is your name?
My name's Enwin.
And
What's yours?
My name is Alice.
Hello, Alice.
Hello, Enwin. Do you live here as well?
Sometimes.
You are the first being that I have talked to.
Hello there.
Hello. Is it safe?
Dear, nothing worth doing is safe.
That is fair. Well, I suppose I'll continue to follow him then.
You must.
All right. Will I see you again, Enwin?
Definitely. We'll be right behind you.
All right. And she crawls down the small hole in the tree and down.
Would we have caught up by now?
Yes, I would say you all watch as Enwin provides just enough distraction for everybody in the area to catch up and see this interaction take place. Yep. Okay. Thank you, Spotley. That's very sweet. You watch as this small girl moves down into the rabbit hole. This little hole in the tree, and crawls through.
I'm following.
I would follow.
I wouldn't have waited for anybody else. As soon as she would have, I would have like looked behind, seen that they were coming and gone.
Okay. Before you go through this rabbit hole, I need everybody to give me perception checks.
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
7.
17. Day.
24.
24.
Nice. 23.
Yep.
Perception? 21.
21. Everybody but Nyx.
Good job.
Everybody but Nyx. You're walking towards this spot. No one has taken time to reassess where exactly they are. As you begin to walk towards this tree and Alice leaves your vision, something odd begins to happen. We don't know who the first one of you is to turn around and look back the way you came. But as you do turn around and look, behind you are these wisps of smoke. It almost looks like. It's these odd tendrils that seem to float and flitter on the air. Back the way you came. Almost obscuring the area, but leading to this small spot in the tree. As if the ground is obscured, or the area that you were once in is obscured. But it's enough of a change in environment that I think someone would notice as you're gearing up to go follow her down this small path. One of the wisps goes flittering through the air, a little closer to the group, as if it's making its way through the hole. And as it does, it goes to move down the hole and then wraps around Enwin. Almost like a hug. As it just, a little trail of smoke wraps around his leg, up his body, and sits right there. And then as plants do, it just sort of like absorbs into it. Go ahead and give me a D100, Enwin.
I got one, don't worry. That's a 13.
13. Who's standing next to Enwin?
If anybody needs it, I have a D100.
No,
Closing
he
the
said
door.
he ran first. I ran first, but he said he would have followed her directly, so it would have been me behind him.
Okay, so Enwin is very close to the tree. Thoe is right there.
I would be behind Thoe.
Oh no.
I'm probably behind Mandrake.
Okay.
Then me?
I'm somewhere in there.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. This small tendril of smoke makes its way through the area, and as it does, it is absorbed into Enwin. When that small wisp of smoke goes into your body, Enwin, something odd happens. The world expands drastically. As you turn to look at Thoe, you see Fire Genasi Thoe standing next to Zoe, standing next to Furbolg Zoe, standing next to a short gnome holding a dagger in her hand, standing next to a dragonborn, long rapier at her side. And as you do this and try to shake this off, you turn and look at the group and you see other individuals as well. You turn and look at Mandrake, and Mandrake once again has different forms next to him. You see the small gnome. You see this mechanical man standing where Mandrake should be. You turn and look at Day. For Day, you see different iterations of her, but like the clothing is slightly different. In one, she's wearing all black, and another one, she's got this long hair that's tied in a braid, and she's holding an axe. And another one, she's wearing a chef's outfit, and she's sort of standing there, and it's too much for you. It's just this odd feeling of the universe expanding. I need you to go ahead and give me a D10, please.
4.
Okay. With a 4, you guys watch as Enwin goes catatonic. Like he just freezes in action, standing up, and his eyes are just darting from each and every one of you. You don't know what's happening.
Enwin, what's wrong?
Like, snap my fingers directly into
8 or 9 different voices issuing forth from Thoe, Enwin, what's wrong? Each from all the different mouths of all the different incarnations.
I cast Lesser Restoration on him.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that that'll do any good, but that's the first thing she'd do. Something happened to him.
Yep. Thoe walks over. She goes, Emma, what's wrong? And as she does, the healing magics, as Thoe puts her hand upon her, more of those wisps will float through the air, go into Thoe, outstretched from her hand, and as they do, it's 4 or 5 of them that'll light each one of her fingers and into your chest, and whatever spell was affecting you, whatever sort of effect that was there is gone. Standing before you are the individuals that you saw in regular form.
For a moment, there was just so many of you. There was you, and there was her. And then there was you as a furbolg, and you as a chef, and there were so many of us.
You've been sneaking at my bottle?
Unfortunately, no. Not that it does anything for me anyway.
That's unfortunate.
You're okay now?
I think so. Whoever you did. Seems to have worked. We should go.
Let's go. Follow her.
Yeah.
Okay, this space is made for a child. Like, this is a space that a small rabbit man could go down, and a child, you all have all picked somewhat large races. I mean, human, elf, we don't have any, like, littles with us. You're all somewhat live, but some of you are wearing armor. Some of you are wearing, like, chain armor and stuff like that. Like, this hole's not, this boat's not big enough.
No, you guys have.
So Mandrake knows the story. Yeah, we've established that.
I would say you all pretty much know this. It would be like the same story that's passed
Right.
along. If you choose to know the story, then you know the story.
Okay. We have to go after him.
Yeah, I don't think we can fit.
That's fine. I can get one other, he can get one other, and you
I
can
can
get
make
one
people smaller or different.
I also have these, and I'll hold out the 7 Eat Me cakes that I'm still holding.
You've been holding snacks out on me?
You
Careful.
don't want to
Did these
overindulge.
definitely make us small? I don't remember.
Yes, they do. Don't worry.
They do, but I've had them for a while. There could have been changes.
Oh, jeez.
I'll try anything once.
Yep, I was like, well,
It's been a while.
just gonna eat one.
I don't think we need to get that small. Maybe half each.
Okay. I eat half of it.
Yeah.
Let's
Seems
do it.
like
Just,
quite
So-
a bit. But okay.
this will be fine.
I'm gonna just use alter self to make myself like a halfling or something so I can fit.
All right.
I'm not dealing
that
with this.
sounds
I was
like a
gonna
good
do,
choice.
yeah,
And I
but
take
can't
back his
disguise
half
self.
of cake.
I'm sorry, I was offered a cake by a friend.
My little Debbie. Perfect.
I just picture a zebra cake with light blue
You
icing.
could have had several whole cakes that you could have left.
Who-
That seems like a better choice.
conversation, I'm walking.
You're
After I've eaten, I'm walking.
okay.
As they sit.
So, hang on. So, in Alice in Wonderland, in the books, how many people have read the book? Okay.
It's been an age.
Anybody know what Drink Me does?
That's
It
a
makes
cake,
you
right?
smaller.
No.
It's the other way around.
It's the other way
no.
around backwards.
The very first time that she does this,
Mm-hmm.
Drink Me shrinks her down. And Eat Me makes her so large, she bumps her head and she starts to cry.
Yeah.
And it floods the space.
Mhm.
Where you are in the story, each of you pop these cakes into your mouth. Except for Nyx.
I didn't do it yet either. She's like, that seems a bit excessive.
Fine. Add that cake back to your inventory.
Okay.
Okay.
If you're going where I think you're going,
This will be fun.
like the cakes came with us from the future.
Correct.
What they do changed because of the space and time. I'm just asking because they came with us.
They did.
I didn't get them from this time zone, like time zone. Yes, I didn't get it from this
Pacific
time.
time.
You know.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking. I'm just asking for clarification. That's all.
Tell you what.
Not an argument.
Give me a D20. I love how you're trying to make an argument with, like, I'm not trying to argue with you, but...
Well, no, I'm asking for clarification. I got 13.
Okay, even it's my way, odd it's yours. You shrink. You shrink down. Shrunk. Halfling. Got it.
Well, you coming or what, sister?
She'll take a bite of the eat me cake then.
Okay. You grab the eat me cake back from Mandrake, and you go, I changed my mind. I want some now. And you shrink down and make your way into this small hole. As you do, it is a long fall, kids. It is similar to a fall that some of you experienced upon the first time of entering Wonderland. As you slide down into this wide expanse with all sorts of odd imagery floating next to you of clocks and rabbits and picnics and odd imagery that you're not sure what it is, you make it there probably about the time that...
On the way down, can I try to grab anything valuable?
Absolutely, you can.
I encourage this behavior.
Give me a dexterity check.
I encourage this behavior so
Is that
much.
your halfling voice?
No.
Can you do it again?
No.
It's a nat 1.
Great.
Oh.
Great. Mandrake outstretches a hand and tries to reach and grab some of these things that are falling at different velocities and gets pulled into the flow. Away from the flow of outside of everybody else. Give me another dexterity saving throw as you outstretch a hand in order to grab him.
Dex save. Awesome. That is a 15.
Okay. You reach and grab his hand, and as you do, Mandrake, you are outside of the flow for a little bit.
Would you get back in here?
As you pull him back in, he's looking a little long in the tooth.
Oh no.
Like not physically. Like
No,
he's looking old.
Hey, Granddad, you want to try that again?
I don't like you.
Give me a D10, please.
So, how many years did you get older?
Yep, we're about to find out.
Put that thing back where it came from.
Or so help me.
So help me.
So help me.
And cut.
0. That's a 10.
That's a 10, my dude.
10.
So
I'm now...
with the quickness,
Yeah.
you aged a little bit.
10 years?
10 years.
Got it.
I could probably recommend some good skincare for that.
Oh,
I think it's a little bit late for that.
Oh, he doesn't have a smoker anymore. He's got like a wood horn.
It's fine. Now he's just 35.
You fall down the rabbit hole. You do, and as you do, you find yourselves softly falling to the ground as if the feather fall spell was cast upon you. The thing that you see is a very large little girl who at this point is crying very large tears and is filling up this expansive room as some smaller creatures are floating about in these tiny boats. The water is, because you are small, the water is about up to your knees at this point. It's salt water because it's the tears of Alice filling up this space.
Are there things floating by us?
There are. You see anthropomorphized animals.
Okay.
Very, very similar to the people of Dinah that are floating about in makeshift boats made of doors that can hold more than 2 people, large teacups. Yeah.
Mandrake's gonna run for a teacup.
Yeah, absolutely. You run over and jump inside one of the teacups and find that there's other bits of flotsam and jetsam floating around the area if you would like to find makeshift boats and things of that sort.
From the Disney movie, is the table and chair still in there?
The table and chair are still in there.
Cool. I would like to try to scramble up the chair.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Give me an athletics or acrobatics check unless you have a climbing speed.
I do not.
That's
I only have a decent running speed.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah.
Let's see. With my acrobatics, that is an adjusted 20.
Okay, yeah. You climb the chair fairly easily. I think it's a quick jump to the table.
Can I join him on the chair?
Yeah, give me an acrobatics or athletics check.
I'm gonna go human again before I do that.
Sure. You drop the halfling form and.
What was the roll for?
I would say this is more
athletics.
I'm being gentle and saying acrobatics or athletics.
15 with athletics.
Perfect. That's great. That's just he's not as graceful as you. There's one of those like jump, and he's like short, and then it's like thank you, like pulls up.
She's finding something to grab onto and get up on top of.
Sure, you're just floating inside a little, let's say it's a little like saucer. Different animals sort of go around the space. They're all more concerned with staying aloft in the swirling waters.
I'm going. Where's Enwin going right now?
You don't know. And where are you going?
How small in relation to Alice are?
Fairly small. I would say that Alice
hit a growth spurt.
Alice hit a growth spurt. She's in the huge category.
Okay.
So I would say, how tall is Enwin?
Probably 6 foot, I think.
6 foot? Let's put her at 20 feet tall.
Can I stand on her shoulder? Is there space?
You could
is there space for me
There
to
is
stand
her head bumped the ceiling. Her head bumped the ceiling, but there is still a small space that you could, if you wanted to, figure out a way to get to where she is.
I'm going to dimension door to sit on her shoulder.
Okay.
And I'm going to turn to her and say, so, looks like we're in a pickle, aren't we?
Give me a straight up charisma roll, buddy.
That's a 10.
She does not. She turns over to look at you on her shoulder, but it's an odd look, and she continues to cry.
Just seeing this child crying, that party atmosphere of mine from the last game kicks in, and I'm gonna start like trying to sing and dance and like perform so that she cheers up, so she stops crying immediately.
If he's making noise, I've got to find somewhere else to be. Is there?
Well, I mean,
you're on the table.
I'm gonna hop up on the table. You can stay on the chair.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah, hop up on the table. So, Thoe, Enwin has disappeared. Puff of smoke. Give me a perception check.
10.
You don't know where he went.
Yep. I'm gonna look for something to hold on to in the water.
Yeah,
while I figure out what to do.
Absolutely. You start floating on top of a little bit of, like, we'll say one of the snack cakes has gotten very large, and you're floating on top of that. As the snack cake floats into the area, you do notice yada 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 yada.
No, I'm basically doing
snack cakes.
No, like some of the snack cakes that she may have imbibed.
You just spot a snack cake floating on top of the water.
I'm taking a bite.
All right, taking a bite of snack cake.
Could I assist him with his performance?
You're not there. How would you assist?
Well, I imagine that if he's up there doing a yada yada yada, she would pull out her instrument and start strumming.
Performance check at advantage because you have backup instruments.
Oh, I will happily take that 21.
The crying stops as she turns her head and sort of wipes her eyes.
Hello, my dear. I have a question. Can you stand on your head? And I immediately fold up and put my feet on top of my head.
Yeah. The water begins to flow out of this space. This area is a hallway or a room with smaller doors all over the place. And a lot of one of the animals has opened a door, and the water is flowing outward from the room. The current is not strong. If you would like to stay in the space, you can. She laughs and turns to you and says, "Do you know him?"
I do, yes.
He can stand on his head.
I can. Can you?
I could probably try, but it probably would not go well in this space.
Oh, I don't think so.
How did you get so very, very tall, my dear?
As you go, how did you get so very tall? She's on one side of the room, her head bumping the ceiling, and then sitting across from Alice is a very tall fire genasi.
How did you get so tall?
I know her too. She's friendly.
Who are you?
I'm
Friendly
Thoe.
fire.
Thoe.
Yes. And who are you?
I'm Alice.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Alice.
It is nice to meet you as well.
I think you should stop crying now.
Oh, I did. I got her to stop crying.
Okay,
It's fine.
that's good.
I helped.
No more crying.
What started you crying, dear?
I bumped my head on the ceiling.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I do wish I was smaller.
Well, how'd you get so big?
I had a bite of that cake.
I did too.
I can see that. There's not enough space in this area for the two of us.
Can I have a look around for anything that might not necessarily be cake-sized?
Yes.
I know the story, so I would know what to look for.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of time. I think the funnier image is you dancing on the table and you're trying to stay out of vision.
Trying to hide.
Yeah. It is very easy for you to do in this moment.
Yes.
Okay, you are very little. But Mandrake, it takes you a little bit of time to find a small drink me bottle. Day is, I still like the image of like everybody's left the room, but you're just sort of still floating in your
saucer.
in your saucer playing a musical instrument. Yes. Yeah, you very easily find it.
I'm gonna cast Minor Illusion
Okay.
towards the bottle, and
Little
have
neon
this
sign.
have a flashing light that says "Drink me," but stay where I'm at.
Okay.
I do suppose that you might want to try that. You're trying to shrink back down.
And she'll take the bottle.
Before you do, could you put me down? It'll be a very fall.
Oh, down here.
Fall for me.
Yes, of course. She takes you, and she puts you down at the table. Oh. She drinks the bottle. Because that's what happens in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And shrinks down. Until she is also standing on the table. Alongside the two of you. You are still unseen. You two are still at table level if you would like to join them.
Yeah, I would be getting on the table.
Day comes up.
I'm gonna
Thanks,
stay in
Joey.
my teacup,
Yeah,
close enough
of
to
course.
hear what's going on, but I don't want to be seen yet.
Okay. All right. She smiles and says, "Thank you for the help. Your music is very lovely."
Thank you. You're very lovely.
Thank you.
She'll extend her hand. My name is Day.
She will curtsy and shake your hand. I'm Alice. I'm a little bit lost.
Well, don't worry, dear Alice. So are we.
Are you all lost?
Well, no, I know exactly where I am. I'm on a table.
That's fair. And what is your name?
Yes. And a deep bow. Wine in hand. Pleasure to meet you, Miss Alice.
Wine in hand.
Yes. Hold the bottle.
Oh, all right.
It's an interesting name, I admit.
Family name?
Sort of.
Okay.
Now we have another hot button issue. Look up at Giant Chloe.
Well, I can get a lot smaller, but I'm
Hot
gonna.
button. It's funny.
I'm not gonna be able to talk to you, so I'm gonna need some help to get through things. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely. What do you
Okay.
need?
I
I'm gonna-
polymorph into a cat that looks like Dinah.
Okay.
You have to take care of her.
Because cats have an intelligence of 14.
Right.
So I should be able to kind of keep up with the group.
It's
but it
not
should
a
be
giant.
smaller.
I think we're
Would it
good.
be a giant cat or it would be a tiny
You're
cat?
gonna polymorph or wild shape?
I don't have any wild shapes left. So
Don't have any
all
wild
I've got
shapes
is
left.
polymorph.
Okay. Yeah, I would say you're able to polymorph yourself into a cat. Your mental acuity is not awesome.
Right.
But you are able to be in cat form and shrink down to that of a small white cat, a very floofy tail. She bends down to pick you up and pets your head a little bit and says, "Where shall we go now?"
Well, I mean, there's the door.
That's true. And she will very carefully climb down from the table to the chair.
If that's happening, I'm gonna cast invisibility so I can't be seen.
Perfect.
I'm gonna Errol Flynn my way down the chair. You see my spirit just.
I think it's such a good move, and there's no present danger. With your skills, it's not that difficult to make your way. You've joined in a video game. I would say you've picked up Alice into your party. She's with you. She has Dinah in hand. How long does polymorph last?
I believe it's an hour. I will double check. Yeah, it's 1 hour.
I would say there is enough wherewithal within you to know about 10 or 15 minutes into this polymorph. The magic that was surrounding you before, like there's a small like from the cat. It's a nasty cat food burp. But when you do, it's the magic fading from your system.
Gag just look.
All right. We make our way through the door into a spacious garden. This beautiful garden is surrounded by trees and lovely flowers and things of that sort. Not too far away from the garden, you see small tufts of smoke going into the sky.
Do I recognize this garden?
I mean,
This one specific?
I don't think you've ever seen this garden.
Okay.
Alice treats all of this as commonplace. She does not wait or talk. She just continues down the path that she's going. But instead, she's holding... Dinah is not walking. Dinah Thoe is not walking. She's holding the cat and just sort of petting her. And Dinah is perfectly fine with being held.
If she's walking, I'm walking.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
I'm gonna hang back a little bit.
I'll wait back with
but
these two.
Cast minor illusion again to have a chorus of singing voices coming from the flowers traveling towards the smoke.
Okay.
Nice.
The flowers begin to sing a tiny little bit, lighting the way to a very large caterpillar. He's laying atop a leaf. Beside him is a hookah plant. And as he begins to smoke from the hookah, you recognize some of these wisps that you've been seeing. Tendrils of smoke that leave the hookah. And as he looks down at Alice...
Actually, before... We would have seen him before we got particularly close, correct?
Sure.
I would have turned to Alice and said, I do believe he's supposed to talk to you. Do you mind? And reach for the cat.
Persuasion?
19.
She's my cat.
He'll just be looking after her for a moment.
She is, but we're just gonna... Just for a moment.
It's really not healthy for cats to be around smoke.
And he really does like cats.
I'll let her walk over to talk to the caterpillar.
It's very funny to me that Thoe has the mental acuity of a cat. She's about to miss the interaction with the caterpillar.
And as she hands me the cat, I'm going to tell her, don't worry, I'm sure it's going to be a very good story.
And she strides forward and begins to converse with the caterpillar, talking. You all hang back for a bit.
Oh yeah.
Can I get close to listen?
Absolutely. Give me a stealth check at advantage.
Oh boy.
I'm just gonna sit back and recline for a moment. Just.
All right.
Well, that
I'm
was a
glad that's
thing.
at advantage. You said stealth.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a 19.
Okay. Nyx is nowhere to be found.
Mandrake would try to creep behind the mushrooms a bit and get ahead of...
I will say, while this interaction is going on, it would be very easy for you to walk behind the flowers and find a circuitous path away. Is anyone following Mandrake? As Mandrake decides to go, I'm going to circumnavigate this and just walk amongst the flowers, wallowing the hours.
I just want to get... I know which direction she's headed next if she follows the story the way it should go.
Okay.
So I want to get slightly ahead.
Okay.
That's all.
Absolutely. Do you communicate this with the group?
No one was near me.
Everyone
I said I was hanging back with you two.
Oh, okay.
With you and where I assumed Nyx was, but
Okay.
Nyx is invisible.
Okay, then I would lean into Wine in Hand and say, I know this story. I'm gonna turn the page if you.
Ooh, wait for me.
Gone?
Yeah, she'd go with him a little bit. She has to trust this. 'Cause she
You're
doesn't know what's going
staying
on.
behind.
Yeah. Close
Okay.
enough to watch, but not close enough.
I need everybody to leave the room except for Nyx.
Cool.
This has never happened before for me.
Stay close. Nyx, very carefully you make your way towards this conversation that's occurring with the caterpillar and Alice. A lot of it follows the path that you would imagine it would follow. The caterpillar is somewhat cryptic in his conversations with Alice. Alice feeds him, with questions, and it follows the path of somebody that could be construed as prophetic. With the way that the caterpillar speaks, his form of speech patterns, the way that the smoke moves from the hookah and creates this sort of dreamy atmosphere. Because you are close to where the caterpillar is, you are treated to a sight that the other group does not see. It's the first interaction that you've been able to witness up close and firsthand with an individual that you know to be a deity. And as Alice begins to speak, the smoke that emits from the hookah, you trace the path that it follows, flowing through the air, and it's not coming from the hookah. As the smoke flows forth from the hookah and the caterpillar's lips, you're almost confused as to why the smoke is causing all these different shapes, and you're able to trace it back due to your arcane knowledge. The smoke is coming from Alice. There's a tether created to this image between the caterpillar and Alice. And it's almost as if she's speaking it into existence. From a child's mind, the smoke is a picture. It's a drawing that she's drawing, and as she speaks, the drawing is manifesting on paper, but you're close to it. And you understand how magic works. This is something akin to casting or creating.
So she's creating the images that she sees, it seems.
But not you. You're not being created. But you watch where her footsteps fall. You see the world enveloping around her.
And I saw the smoke going to both Enwin and then Chloe. Did I see that?
At some point, yes, you did.
Okay.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Come back in, guys. You're all good.
Hello. I have returned.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Those of you that circumnavigate, Mandrake and Day, you're staying behind?
No, I was going with them.
Mandrake, Day, and Wine in Hand. You circle around this area until you get... the garden turns from that into this sort of lush garden with these tall, comfortable plants and mushrooms that grow about the space, and it morphs into that of more of a forest. Give me perception checks.
Cool. Oh, come back, dice. I need you for dice roll purposes.
It's 18.
10.
Nope, not you. You stay behind.
Never mind. Sorry.
15.
15. There is a very beautiful cat lounging in a tree not too far away. Just sort of lazing in the noonday sun, its tail flipping back and forth.
And a fork in the road.
This is my favorite part of the story.
Well, I see.
The tail looks oddly familiar.
I was like, I just nudge you and flip over my pendant.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Mandrake has already
Ah,
walked
yes,
forward.
now I see it.
And just looks up and says hello.
Hi there.
And you are?
I'm whom I'm supposed to be. Who are you?
I don't quite know anymore.
You don't know who you are, but yet you ask me who I am? That seems rather presumptuous.
Well, you know we are the company we keep.
Then you're me and I'm you. What a pity. Who are they?
Friends.
Each other.
A fan.
I'm wine in hand.
You're a wine in hand.
Yes.
And
It
you're a
doesn't
fan.
make sense.
Amongst other things. Thaumaturgy actually calls it breeze. I'm a literal fan.
This is different.
Mhm.
If someone were to come and ask you for directions, which way would you send them?
Wouldn't that depend on which way they're going?
Yes. Because some people go this way, and some people go that way.
And others like to go that way. But it all depends on where they want to end up.
As you say that, the cat begins to disappear, leaving behind a fading grin. Well,
But
if you're going to give directions, I don't need to be here.
Oh.
And he disappears.
Mandrake will turn to them and go, just because we know the story doesn't mean we get to tell
At
it.
this
I know, I'm
moment,
sorry, I got so
at
excited.
this moment, Alice turns towards
Disguise self, Cheshire.
anyone can do it. Turns toward the area. As she does, she looks back over at Enwin. Enwin, she looks back over at you and looks down the path.
Are you
I'm gonna go.
disguising yourself?
I'm gonna hide behind the tree Cheshire was at.
You're gonna hide behind.
I'm gonna hide behind.
If he's already doing it, she's gonna duck to the side because there can't be two Cheshires.
1, 2.
I am gonna cast guidance on him as I'm going.
What are you doing?
I was going to disguise myself as Cheshire.
Okay.
The
Read
Cheshire-
through disguise self.
No, at the Cheshire I know.
The Tabaxi, like the cat man.
No, I was gonna disguise myself as the one that's sitting up on that branch.
Okay. Cat man. Tabaxi.
And I was going to sit in the tree.
Okay. Cat human in the tree.
Trust me.
Okay.
I guidance. You have a D4 on a check.
For the next minute, and I will say that guidance you're just like guidance. Moment of guidance.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yep.
Huh? I screwed up. I'm trying to unscrew it up.
She doesn't say anything. She just looks to you for direction.
I don't believe that one's got directions for you, if that's what you're looking for.
And she turns around and begins to walk forward. The thing. I do believe that one's got directions for you. It happens again.
Okay.
And she'd
I'm
be-
gonna stay by the caterpillar for just a moment while they all go off.
Okay. Got it. Alice begins to walk forward towards the trees, and she sees a cat man lounging in a tree, tail flicking back and forth. Hello.
Hello.
Who are you?
Cheshire.
Hello, Cheshire. Do you know where I'm supposed to go?
That depends a good deal on where you want to get to.
Well, I've been following the directions that my friend Enwin gave me.
And which way did Enwin tell you to go?
He said that you would tell me which way to go. So, which way do I want to go?
Well, it doesn't much matter which way you go. As long as you get somewhere.
I suppose that's fair. So it doesn't matter which path I choose?
Well, some go this way, some go that way, and I'll point my tail straight up and say, some choose that way.
She'll take her head. Give me a performance check, please.
Remember that D4.
13.
13. You direct your head upward. She directs her head upward, and as she comes back, it's a bit of a show, and she gives a small laugh. Oh, all right then. Then I'll head in this direction.
I will.
I'm gonna send a message, and I am going to tell him that. Don't forget the shortcut.
Yeah.
Don't forget the shortcut. And I'll cast Minor Illusion again with the sound of a birthday party off in the direction she should walk.
She's starting to go towards the right, and you go, don't forget the shortcut, and she pivots her head off to the left as the sounds of a party ring out in the air. And she goes, thank you. And she curtsies a little bit and forgets you entirely. And
I'm going to catch up to her.
Yeah. And begins to walk. As
Slump to the ground.
he catches up to you, I think there's a... you are cradling in your arms, Thoe.
Hello.
Hello.
My cat! Where's Dinah?
Well, she can be here again. Would you prefer that Dinah is here?
Yes, please.
Who?
You're talking to a child. I'm sorry.
It's okay. And she's Dinah again.
Yep.
I can make you do it 2 more times if you need me to.
So I will jump up into her arms then.
She carries the cat with her. You think to the best of your knowledge, man, I thought I got you guys. You think to the best of your knowledge that she's back on the right path.
The moment I feel like she's out of earshot, I'm gonna slump to the ground.
We should also mention that she's probably not supposed to be following Enwin, but maybe a white rabbit?
Actually, at this point in the story, the cat told her where to go.
Yeah. Come on.
She's okay. Okay.
It's fine.
Just saying.
Come on.
Might have been beneficial. That's all. Onward?
I dropped Disguise Self.
All right. Disguise Self is dropped. Enwin, you are standing next to Alice, who is holding a beautiful white cat in her arms, and going towards a table. There is no one at the table. You spot small patches of blood around the table at various intervals. She spots a bottle of jam on the table, so she doesn't think anything of it. But all of you have been adventuring long enough to realize that, like, that's not jam. It's something else. There is no individuals at this table. And she goes, I wonder where the birthday party is.
I have no idea.
Shall I take the Hatter or you?
We're going to need a March Hare.
Shall I take the March Hare or you?
Oh, he already have the hat.
I'm going to motion to a seat and go. If we wait, I'm sure they'll be here. It'll be a great story. Have a seat.
Disguise
I'm going to
self.
sit down.
Into the Mad Hat. I'm just kidding.
Suck it!
Suck it.
Dana, I swear to Christ. I swear to Cheshire you don't do this to me.
Wine in hand flips the table. This is a lovely party.
I'll turn into the March Hare.
All right.
I mean, he already has the hat.
How?
Disguise self.
Okay. So you're the March Hare with a very hideous brooch on it.
Yes. Do you expect anything else from this party?
Who are you saying that? Are you saying this to me?
Yes.
That's not how
Never
this
mind.
works. But I love where you're at.
Thanks!
Is there anything else I can do to win D&D?
I just want to win the whole D&D.
I mean, I already ate all the dice. I don't know what else to give myself.
Okay. Cool. March Hare.
Mandrake would catch up and bounce into the space, like flips.
Bouncy.
Wine in hand.
I'm just going to watch.
Got it. So the March Hare and the Mad Hatter make the scene, turning this into the most raucous unbirthday party that you have ever seen. Hello.
A very merry birthday to you. To you. A very merry birthday to who?
And that's
You.
as much as we can sing without hitting copyright. There you go.
Download the candles out, my dear. Make your wish come true.
Edwin watches the podcast, or watches the show, so this is fine. As you have this scene, and envelop this scene out for this child, several questions are asked. The first question is, who are you?
Well, I'm the March Hare.
And who are you?
The Hatter.
How did you get here?
How does anyone come to be here?
That's true.
Clean cup, move down.
Everyone switches places and moves down.
Move down, move down, move down.
Why are you having a party?
Well, because it's our own birthday.
Oh, understood. Well, this is very lovely. Shall we all have tea?
Oh, there's no tea.
There's no tea.
No tea. Why? Because you have a clean cup. Move down.
Everyone begins to move about the space. The scene unfolds. Both of you give me a performance check, or one of you at advantage, please.
Which one's at it? Huh?
One of you at
One
advantage.
of you at advantage, or each of
both
you
of you
give
do.
me a performance check.
You're gonna want me to be an advantage.
Go ahead and take the
The
advantage.
bard?
Or
The
you could
bard?
give, or you could give her the advantage.
You're an advantage.
Hi.
For the love of everything.
Just like I thought you meant we both roll.
Oh, thank God for advantage.
Did you get a
That's
nat 1?
Oh,
That's
my
a
heart.
19. We don't talk about the other one.
A 19 total?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, my heart.
It's
Oh,
it's
don't do
it's enough. Using relying on the March Hare's wild antics and flipping of the table. The Mad Hatter and the March Hare do this amazing scene set before you. After a bit of time, Alice stands up from the table after having a lot of polite conversation with each and every one of you as you quiz her relentlessly on
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
riddles and small
Putting
questions.
jam on her hands.
Putting jam on her hands, and you relay to her exactly why you are all here, because time has been frozen and it is always tea time. She gets up from the table, and her eyes go a little dreamy. Alice stands up and gets odd looking, almost as if she's about to be sick to her stomach. And as she does, she slumps forward, standing up at the table. Would anyone go to catch her?
I would. I'd be standing right next to her.
Yeah, and when you very easily catch her, and you see that there is an odd look on her face as her eyes have fluttered closed, and she is fast asleep.
I can't cast I can drop my polymorph and cast Lesser Restoration.
Okay. As you do that, I need each of you to give me Constitution saving throws, please.
All the peoples?
Nope, just the people drinking the tea.
Ah.
16.
16.
Constitution saving throw.
Yep.
7.
Day, you feel yourself right on the cusp of not being able to maintain consciousness, but you grip the edges of the table, and as you do, you are able to shake off this odd sensation that goes through you. As you feel the invisibility fade.
I stayed by the caterpillar.
You stayed by the caterpillar. We'll
Yeah.
get to you in a second then. Mandrake looks funny. He gets that same dreamy look in his face, and as he does, he grabs onto the table, slumps forward a little bit, and rolls onto his back and just passes out.
Oh, do it one more time.
Okay.
Not to me.
Let's cut back to Nyx, standing by the caterpillar.
All right, so
Well, you're the
invisibility's
last to get
dropped.
healed.
Yes.
Okay. Hello, caterpillar.
Hello.
I was hoping you could help me with something.
What is it you need?
There's a story being told right now,
Yes.
and I'm afraid that There's a lot of things messing it up.
How do you mess up a story?
Changing it. Adding things that shouldn't be there.
Doesn't that make for a better story?
But what about the old story? What happens to the people in the old story when the story's changed?
Isn't that what life is? An old story constantly rewritten, the setting of the sun?
Yes, but there's certain things that need to stay the same. How do I make sure they don't change?
You stay in the same day. Things change. You cannot stop time.
But can I correct the ship?
No. But you can turn a ship and affect where the ship goes.
Alright. Thank you. And I'll go after them.
Mandrake is out. There's some slappage going on.
Couple slaps. Then she said one more time. I'm gonna turn around and
Uh,
I can cast another lesser restoration.
No, you cannot.
No, I can't. Okay.
Not in this form.
I'll cast lesser restoration.
Yeah, because I said I dropped it to cast it on her.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
So
From here on in, you take on the mental acuity of a cat when you polymorph.
so I cannot come out of
No. From here on in, just be aware.
Okay.
Like a cat's intelligence is your intelligence.
Right.
When
and
you
I thought
polymorph.
because it was a 14.
Yeah.
Because a cat has an intelligence of 14. I thought I was okay.
A cat has
I
an
prefaced the change with that. That a
Perfect.
cat has an
Yes.
intelligence of
Then I would say that you are able to understand quite a fair bit. Between the two of you, you both use a lesser restoration and awaken Alice, and you awaken Mandrake.
Oh, nice to have
You
you back
want
here.
cookies. You
What-
steal things.
What just happened?
You got tired.
The tea.
Not sure why.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't be. We all get tired sometimes.
Where to now?
I think it's time to move on.
Indeed. Shall we?
Yes.
And I'll take her hand and walk down the path.
You may feel a slight stinging in your cheeks. That's perfectly normal. Day slapped you.
Oh yes, I totally did.
You begin to walk down the path. Enwyn takes Alice's hand, and as he does, he leads her down this small path. It's odd. She's still a little groggy. The lesser restoration has awoken her, and it has awoken Mandrake. However, Mandrake, you still just feel as almost as if you get that NyQuil, like grogginess. Alice does as well. You're far behind the group.
Yeah.
You still haven't caught up to them. As you start walking forward down the path, the ground starts getting mushy, Nyx. Like it starts getting like quicksandy. As you take a few steps forward and your feet starts to sink ever so slowly into the ground.
I'll cast Fly on myself so I'm not touching the ground.
Okay.
Stand
All of
low,
you
but
that are walking with Alice don't notice any such change. But all of your visions go hazy. They go blurry. There's something odd happening as you all feel like there's something off or weird, or you're hungover or drunk or something, because you can't see too far into the distance.
My normal habitat. Good.
Yes.
Ah yes, I'll fix that. Perfect.
Perfect. This is
This is
that.
it.
this is exactly how it feels. Until looming ahead of everyone is a very large castle with some rose bushes leading up the steps.
What color are the roses?
White.
Bird.
Noted.
Just. Oh. Okay. Didn't we
Does
just...
anybody have red paint?
I do believe our story's about to get a little bit worse, dear.
Oh, well, we don't have to go this way.
You're right. We don't. Maybe we should go somewhere else. Where would you like to go?
Look, Verdry. Didn't we just leave this place?
With that question, where do you want to go? The castle begins to fade. And the rose bushes begin to fade. And she turns and looks behind her, and a new path begins to form in front. As the castle is taken away, and you see a... You see a beach scene. And there is just the lapping of waves that come in and out of the shore. And she takes a few steps forward and puts her toes in the sand and sits down in the sand and begins to build a sand castle.
I will sit with her and build it.
Suddenly beach episode!
You suddenly beach episode. Alice is somewhat preoccupied as Enwyn sits with her, so the rest of the group has time to talk. Nyx, because you are flying, you are able to just outrun the nothingness that is creeping up behind you and catch up to the group in a... Give me a history check.
I really shouldn't roll for anything tonight, ever.
Anyone who's
it's 5.
Anybody at the beach can give me a perception or investigation.
Oh, cool.
Does that not include me?
That as you catch up, you can do that. Perception or investigation.
Hello, friend. It is I, Tweedleday, the one who sort of told this story.
13.
Told the story of the beach?
The walrus
Of
and the
the walrus
carpenter.
and the carpenter?
It's not that beach.
Not that beach.
Caucus roast,
So,
baby.
26 investigation when I ever get there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 13.
was I only rolling history?
You were only rolling history.
Or history.
20.
That's
Sorry.
not now.
Okay.
11.
Beach looks somewhat familiar, as if you guys have all been here before.
Like us.
All of you have walked these shores. Or flown these shores. You spend some time in the sand, dipping your toes in the sand. Nyx finally catches up with the group as Alice is preoccupied looking out into the water, sitting next to Enwyn, building a sand castle.
I'm hiding, by the way. I'm not being seen.
You're not going to be seen by the group either.
That's fine.
You're a flying man coming through this guy.
Is there a way
You're at a
to
wide beach.
There's no way to avoid.
You can go back to the nothingness area.
The beach is all the reality there is right now.
Can I take? I'm gonna go back invisible then as I catch up. Just I don't want to be seen at all.
Got it.
The story is changing, and I'm worried about this. I'm worried about everything changing in the story. I mean, the Red Queen is. We didn't see her.
Yeah.
Which might be good, but.
But we need this version of her. If the Red family disappears, so do I. I'm the other half of that story. What is Enwyn doing?
I don't know. But he's in the story now.
What if he's trying to make himself a god?
Whatever he's doing. We need to redirect her back to the Queen.
How are we going to do that? She trusts anyone more than anybody.
I know a story. It's the wrong beach, but
Whatever it is, we gotta do it quick because we're breaking this story, big time.
She does have a penchant for chasing things she recognizes, like a cat or a rabbit.
Well,
You take a bit of time to rest on the beach while she plays in the sand. Each of you marking down a short rest.
Lincoln's famous rest.
that's That's a good thing.
The short rest is just enough time to realize where exactly you are.
Oh, good.
The sand was darker.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It was a place that should never have been, but was.
We made this place.
What place?
Okay.
Remember when we took the job? The black sand?
Yes.
Only job I ever took was for that crazy lady that
You weren't there.
The place with the black. This is the place with the black sand.
This is the Dark Crown.
So, if we need to bring her back to the Red Queen, not even knowing where the Red Queen is, because the Red Queen's castle disappeared, then we need something for her to chase.
She's making the story. As long as she thinks she's going there, she'll end up there.
So we need someone to convince her to go see the Red Queen.
We need a white rabbit.
Well, I can be a rabbit, but
Can you be one who's very late?
I can. Anybody have a watch I can borrow?
She'll take Mimi off her ankle. No, Mimi, I need you to be a good girl. I love you very much. And she'll hand Mimi over and have her turn into a watch.
Okay. You've got a tiny baby mimic that is in the shape of a small watch. Enwin, what are you and Alice speaking about as she makes her sandcastle? Are you absentmindedly speaking? Are you working in silence?
Would I have recognized where we were? How quickly would I have recognized where we were?
Fairly quickly.
I would have started telling her the story of what we did there.
Okay.
Suddenly wine in hand fades from view as he no longer exists.
No. Worse.
Oh no.
Enwin's words flow forth into the air. A tiny wisp of smoke weaving this tale as they pass through the air and towards where Alice is. As Alice begins to nod and listen to Enwin tell her the story of going to the Dark Crown and the sand that was black, that had these little creatures that lived inside of it, and you stayed on the sand too long, you watch as emanating from Alice into the sand goes darker. Just as Thoe begins to turn into this white rabbit, Alice jumps up and looks down at the sand around her as it's gone dark, and eyes dart up towards the sky as a storm begins to circle and spiral into the heavens. Bits of rock are now appearing out on the outskirts of her vision, jutting outward, which looks like they would be death for ships that entered into this area. As she turns to look at you and she goes, "Then what happened?"
And then it was time for our story to move on. And I'm going to look over my shoulder and just kind of shrug and take her hand and start walking away from the beach.
With every footstep that falls, the sand gets a little darker. The little bits of gray and white flecks in the sand that you know to be that of bones appearing as small things are dragged forth from the sand. Little bits of claws that seem to reach out and about and move about and pull back into the sand of the Dark Crown of Wonderland.
Maedric's gonna lean into today and say, "Tell her about the castle."
Oh, Alice, would you like to hear another story?
Yes.
So one time, I was walking through this garden. Beautiful, beautiful garden, might I add.
And what's your name?
Oh, I told you already.
Did you?
I did.
Did you?
She did.
I did.
How did you say your name?
I said, hello, my name is Day.
Just Day.
Yes.
Got it.
So, about that garden. It's
Yes.
almost as if it's a maze, but not an unwinnable maze, something we can get through if you know the way, and I'm sure you, being the smart, bright young girl that you are, knows the way. Anyways, there are these white roses, and as you fade through, they start turning red.
Yeah. You're describing this area, and you're mapping out this maze of a garden.
That leads to a beautiful castle.
Her eyes are directed towards you, and as they do, they dart over to the side as they see a white rabbit holding up a little pocket watch. Then the pocket watch gives a, and you're like, shh.
Is that the rabbit you were chasing?
I believe so. He's very late.
He is. Maybe we should help him get to where he's going.
I'm running in the direction that they're looking.
Okay. She goes, thank you for your story. It was very good. Mr. Rabbit, and she goes chasing off.
Do not let go of her hand. I will go with her, but don't let go.
She stops for a second and says, what are you doing? We have to go chase the white rabbit.
Yeah, we're going.
You have to be faster.
Oh, I can be very fast. Do you trust me?
Yes.
How fast do you want to go?
As fast as the wind.
500 feet.
Yeah.
Dimension
you transport in front of Thoe, who is in white rabbit form and just sort of, oh god, and stop. As you do, you find yourselves in a beautiful garden leading up into a castle that spans off into the sky. The roses are white. And did you describe them as red or white?
White fading to red.
Yeah.
White fading to red. Okay, so they're in white roses fading into a red color. The castle is very large. Giant cards with faces that sort of float off of the cards themselves are about the space, and as they catch up to where you are, or they transport in front of you, she stops and turns her head and looks back at this castle, which is looming over everything, as these cards go about painting the roses, fading them from a white to a light red color, giving everything this sort of pristine, like pink shine, rather than a bright, vibrant red.
I'm gonna run into the garden.
It's just enough time for you to sneak around and run into the garden itself. She will chase after, going with Enwin, as everyone in the group begins to follow her as she gives suit and runs into the garden. As she does, she's not being too careful. She's a child, and she's in the heat of the moment, and she accidentally touches her shoulder against one of the roses. And as she does, the rose falls from where it is and lands on the ground. And hits the ground. As it does, you all wait for it. Any infraction that was made during this time period, the queen would step forward, the Red Queen, and yell, "Off with her head." But it doesn't come. All of your eyes dart up to the keep itself, and you see the queen that you are somewhat familiar with darting about the space, in front of the space, swinging open doors, pushing open windows. It's odd. You can see her through these windows. It looks like she's frantically searching for something or someone. But because that chastising doesn't come, Alice just continues to run forward, chasing after Thoe in white rabbit form, moving about in the maze.
Really quick, she would mend the rose.
Okay.
So she'll do mending to...
Mending takes a minute.
I will cast minor illusion coming from one of the windows, screaming "off with her head" in the voice of the queen.
Okay. Minor illusion can do a full voice.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can either do a silent image or a sound.
Perfect. With another cast of illusion, you hear "off with her head," and her eyes dart upward. As Alice's eyes dart upward, you see the Red Queen that you are somewhat familiar with walk past a window, and as Alice's eyes dart upward, you hear the cantrip "off with her head," and as Alice darts her eyes forward. Nyx, your heart goes cold as a little bit of that smoke coalesces around Alice and shoots forward. As Alice's eyes dart up towards the queen in the window, who is looking for someone or something, and as this white smoke leaves forth from Alice, moving across the plain, it envelops the queen, and as she does, she grows grotesque. She grows somewhat taller, larger, surrounded in this red dress that almost looks cartoonish around her. And as that happens, this hair that she had, her features are somewhat exaggerated as her eyes are made a little wider, and her hair is made this long, like black hair that she had before. The powerful woman that you once saw that went through this portal with you is now gone. Replaced is now the facsimile of what the Red Queen is and was. She stares out of the space, and as she does, she leaves the window and disappears in a hallway in the castle. Who was that?
I'm gonna cast message to Alice.
Okay.
That was the Red Queen.
Hello? I just heard a voice.
Just one.
Was that you?
It wasn't.
Who was it?
No, I have no idea.
That was the Red Queen.
Apparently.
I think she wants to do horrible things to me.
I suspect you're right.
We should probably leave, yes?
Dear Alice, no story was ever written by staying safe.
All right. Maybe we could go apologize?
I think that'd be a lovely idea. Let's go.
Alice begins to leave the maze back the way she came, abandoning the White Rabbit to their machinations. As Alice turns and makes her way towards the front of the maze, you are all standing behind her as the doors to the garden, the doors leading out to the garden from the castle, swing open, and the Red Queen stands there. I looked for her. I looked for the original because I didn't want anything to happen to her.
That's unfortunate.
Good news.
She did this to me. It was me the whole time. How was I to know?
To know.
And Alice just keeps like darting back and forth. You wanted a monster. You got one.
I wanted my friend back. I wanted my deity safe. You took him from me. You want a monster, sister? You got no idea.
Off with their heads.
Bring it on.
Roll initiative.
Oh,
You took my treasure away from me. I'm gonna stab you alive.
I need 20 to 25. 20. Mandrake. 20 to 15. 15 to 10.
Guys, come on.
10 to 5.
8.
Okay.
Oh my god.
8 roll off.
I'll just be down here.
16.
5, you take it. Day's got it, been me.
Day. Wine in hand.
Nyx.
Nyx.
I have
Love you.
6.
Oh, Thoe then.
Thoe
Oh.
Nyx.
Oh, I thought you said 7. Okay.
Enwin. All right, gang. With a giant yell, she yells off with her head and outstretches 2 hands forward, each crackling with arcane energy. Alice is caught off guard by this and takes an instinctive move to stand behind Enwin. As that happens, As that happens, several things happen all at once. Much of the smoke that is surrounding the sky and surrounding the area congeals as Alice takes a breath inward. As it does, the space shrinks down. All of you are in this small circular space. The queen is in front of you, leading. She's up, raised. I want to say she's 30 feet away from you. She's up steps, so that puts her another 10 feet away, putting her at an even 40 as she stands in this space. As she stands in this space, you see some of the arcane energy around her begin to coalesce and take hold. With that being said, she is going to outstretch a hand and she is going to banish Nyx.
Am I still invisible?
Not after you cast a message.
How the terms have tabled.
Message. Shoot. You're right.
There you are.
Oh, there you
Not
are,
for
Peter.
long.
Give me a charisma save, please. Yep, for banishment.
Shoot.
Oh.
Charisma saving?
Charisma.
That's gonna be an 11.
Yep. With that, she outstretches a hand, and Nyx, as hatred burns through her eyes, and Nyx is gone from the space, banished from sight.
To be fair, you tried to do it to her last episode.
Yeah, but it didn't work.
Well, it did this time.
With that, that is her turn. Mandrake.
How close am I to Day?
You are all in a small clump, I believe. You are all in a small area. The only one that sort of separated themselves is Enwin, who's got her back behind his back.
Okay. I'm going to cast Blur on myself.
Okay.
And I am going to say to Day, tell her a nicer story.
Okay. That's your action?
That's my action.
Great. That's your turn. That's Mandrake's turn. I need Day. Your turn.
Oh, Alice.
She pokes a head out from behind Enwin.
Care for a story?
She can't respond on this turn.
I
will give her a small nod of the head.
Can I start the story?
Absolutely. What story are you telling in your 6 seconds?
I would start with the first verse of the Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Tweedledum and Tweedledee agreed to have a battle, for Tweedledum said Tweedledee had spoiled his nice new rattle.
Okay. I think the words take hold. Give me a performance check.
+7.
+7? Where are you at? Oh, you don't have another +7 on top of that?
No, I'm telling you your
Oh,
modifier.
thank you. I thought you were giving me like an extra buff.
No,
I was like,
I can't
dope.
do that. I have my own thing I
22.
gotta do.
That's what I thought you were doing. I was like, okay, cool. Let's
22.
go.
These words seem to echo out through the air. That is your action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I'm into it. That's Day's turn. Wine in hand.
Yeah, told her I was gonna mess her up, so I'd be lying if I said I wasn't looking forward to this scrap. I'm gonna cast Spirit Guardians on myself, and I've got a movement speed of 40.
You do have a movement speed of 40. So Spirit Guardians on yourself, and then rushing forward.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, wine bottle in one hand, spear in the other.
Got it. All right. You're standing right next to her, like fist at the ready.
And I'm going to burn a key point for patient defense as a bonus.
Okay. Key point burned. All attacks against you are going to be at disadvantage.
And since she's in that spot, that's a wisdom save versus 3d8.
I believe at the start of her turn?
Correct.
Yep, so she's good for the moment. Okay. That's Day. That's wine in hand. Thoe.
I hate how perfect this is. Frick. I'm casting Investiture of Flame.
Okay.
Thoe is on fire.
Okay.
Flames race across her body, shedding bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for an additional 30 feet.
Okay.
Immune to fire, resistant cold. Any creature that moves within 5 feet of me or ends its turn will take 1d10 fire damage, and then I can use my action on subsequent turns for up to 10 minutes.
Including all of your allies?
It says any creature, they're gonna all have to stay away from me. I'm not within, like, we're close, but we're not within 5 feet.
I will say that you take you
Okay,
take
that's
some
fine. Yeah,
you
I'll
take
just
30
do where I
steps
wait, 'cause I
towards
wouldn't
her and
hurt
then
them.
flaming torch
So,
up.
For 10 minutes, I will be able to use my action to send 4d8 fire damage at her or anything else.
Hachi machi. Okay, that's Investiture of Flame. I would say the rabbit form dissipates at this point.
Yeah, I had to drop it.
Yeah, absolutely. Investiture of Flame is activated and on. You doing anything with your bonus action?
Not right now.
Okay, that is your turn. Nyx is gone. Enwin.
Great.
I love you.
Well, dude, I'm trying to get you back.
I know. I'm gonna turn to Alice. I'm going to say, I wouldn't worry, dear. It's very strange for her to be like this. She's usually quite kind and very gentle. And I'm gonna grab my necklace.
Persuasion check.
8.
Okay. Your armor activates over you, and she takes a step backwards away as the chitinous armor like forms around you, and it just sort of shocks her a little bit as she sees you in bug form.
Yeah. After that, he's just gonna say, "Don't worry. As long as I'm here, nothing's gonna harm you."
Okay.
I also missed that thanks to Icky, Zoe has wild magic.
Are you? Thanks to Icky, you have wild magic.
Yep. Wild magic.
Okay. Are you activating it now?
Oh, I can choose when to activate it?
Well, yeah, because there's a chance that it's bad.
Yeah, no, I know. No, might as well. Like,
Let's do it at
the only people that are possibly
at
in
your
range are me,
turn.
the Red Queen, and
Icky
you.
says, "I spent the karma."
The what?
Okay.
The only people that are in range because she's 30 feet. I was 40. I'm right up on the Queen.
With that, the Queen
Has half movement speed while she's in my area.
she's not moving.
Cool.
What is the save?
Save is, please hold while I place your call. 16.
16. She makes her save.
Okay, 9 reduced to half, so 4, I suppose.
What?
Well, she doesn't even make concentration.
9, 10 minimum. She makes her cut.
That's fine.
That's fine.
No, it's a 10 minimum.
Yeah, 10 minimum.
No, that's a 9. How is that just a 9?
I dealt 9 points of radiant damage to her.
No. Her save. It can't just be a 9.
Oh, yes, it can. It totally can. It's fine if it is.
Okay, yeah, it's a 9. With that, you are back, Nyx.
Cool, Jay, get you back.
She begins to cast a spell. It is her turn now, as she takes a bit of damage. With that, she traces her hands in the air. And time freezes. For
Cheshire, damn it.
24 seconds.
Oh, nice.
For, nope, 30 seconds. Time stops.
5 rounds?
Jesus.
Completely.
Do we notice her casting this?
You do notice her. I said she cast, and then I
Right,
waited a
never mind.
second.
Never mind, you're right.
And then
Yep.
she will look at the space, look where all of you are, as I don't think you see any of this. No time passes for you guys. She sees what's happening. You guys think that everything is fine. She casts the spell, and she is gone.
Question.
Yeah.
Since it's 5 rounds, would she not have had to make the save 4 more times while she was in the area of the Guardians?
She can cast the spell, and I will say that she will be able to. Yes, she would have made her save.
Okay.
But it's still half damage.
Yep. 9. So
You guys blink, and the Queen is gone. The door to the castle is wide open.
Where's Alice?
Hmm?
Is Alice still behind me?
No, she's not.
I run in.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. With that, Alice is in this throne room. The throne room looks as if it was designed almost cartoonishly. Wide strokes. The king's throne is this large central space, and Alice, is sitting in the king's chair. And she has an odd look to her face, as if she's not sure as to how she got here. But right now, she's the only being in the room.
I do not miss this room.
What just happened?
Come out, wherever you are.
Well, that doesn't sound creepy at all. We have a child.
Yeah. Why don't you come down there? From there, dear. I'm gonna stretch my hand out for her.
Okay.
I'm
Yep.
more concerned about the big angry red lady.
The big angry red lady takes Enwyn's hand, grabbing it in hers, and smiling a large grin as she grabs a hold of it. As she does this, a large scream emanates from the back of the room as a small figure that was tied up takes her first halting steps forward against these ropes that are holding her close. Before this spell is able to be cast off, the room begins to shake and rumble as Alice, for the first time, screams, channeling the primordial energy that is swirling about the space. As the queen turns to Alice and she grabs onto her only friend in the world, and Alice screams, that scream echoes across the space, carving a path out of the wood as this queen takes on a different form. There's nothing worse to a child than a friend being hurt or grabbed or touched in such a way, and she has nothing. She now views the queen in such a hateful way that she transforms immediately, growing larger in the space, the red dress forming a giant red robe that seems to issue forth downward. The woman's hands grow longer and longer, elongating, the nails growing wider into this space, and the hair falling away from the head in this bald space. As you see this almost skeletal form, the rage and terror coalescing into a being made of magic.
Lich, please!
As the Arch-Lich Queen stares at each of you, the castle walls begin to fall away. In a cascading domino, the space turns into what it was always meant to be, an arena for the last bastion of good versus evil. The space is yours. And as this demonic Arch-Lich turns to face each of you, there is a beam of light that comes forth from this dark expanse, and an older woman appears in the space. An older woman that you have met once before, maybe twice.
DC.
DC in it? Yeah.
And she walks over towards where Alice is and touches her forehead, and Alice falls asleep. And you hearken back to Alice's sister waking her up from a bad dream, a sister that was never named, a sister that appears in the books, that wakes Alice up and says, "You were just having a bad dream. It's all over." And as Isi turns to look at you, and up at this figure of the queen ascending to godhood, she walks back holding Alice in her hand. With one hand, she outstretches it, and a portal opens up, and a figure falls from this portal, hitting the ground. It is Grim.
Oh, thank God.
Long white hair, big white fluffy ears, old.
What in church is
So much older. 60, 70, but he's still got fight in him. As he stands in the space, Isi backs up with the child, and one more time with this with this lich, focused attention on the girl, EC looks at each of you and winks. And all of you have been long rested, recovering all spell slots, recovering all HP, and all of you simultaneously turning to face what surely would be the destruction of Wonderland as you know it. And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode. We open up next week, facing off against the Red Queen, having a bit of downtime. Stakes are big. All of you have been long rested. The start of your turn, you have a wild magic surge. And we'll see everybody next week for the season 1 finale of Wonder. Grim included.
Yay!
The band's all coming back together. You got this. We'll see you guys soon. Indigo Connect. And hey, do you wonder?